pay attention to the other shiny
1914,
things in the vault,
definitely.
but we'll come over to the BMW area.
There's our next year's car right there. You get to push me around. That's how I'm going to get around next year.
You switch seats for team racing.
That's it, right? Every hour.
Yeah.
Somebody else.
So we'll start out here. I'll just wait for everyone to come around a little bit. The exhibit is celebrating 50 years of 3 Series, which was last year's anniversary. And the Petersen Museum asked if they could do it by mixing street cars and race cars together. So we have a little bit of everything for the exhibit. 9 cars in total, but they're all really special. And this year is the 40th anniversary of the M3, and it turns out most of the cars in there are M3s. So we have a bonus. So it's also the 40 years of M3 exhibit. Out front here we have 2 very important cars within the range of the 3 Series. This is a very nice 320 from 1983. It's part of the BMW Classic collection, and it's an original car with 14,000 miles. It's in fantastic condition, and we've had it since new. The car over here, this is an M3 E36 M3 lightweight, one of 126 made. Paul Walker made them famous by trying to grab the market on them. He had quite a few before he died. This particular car is privately owned, and it has 46 or 47 miles on it. It is the best one by far out there. So we're really lucky to have this one as part of the exhibit. We have one in our collection as well, and it's got 1,000 miles, so it's not even close.
Do you ever have to drive them or turn them on?
Yes, you do, yeah. I'm not sure what the owner does for this, but ours, yes, we exercise it a little bit every month, yeah. So we can now go inside and have a look at the first car, and we'll go chronologically, so I'll bring you over to the 320 Turbo.
This thing is so fun.
Can you take it home?
We're wrapping all of these after, right?
Yes. So someone asked about if we were going to see a Batmobile in here. It was you? Okay. This is a car that replaced the 3.0 CSL Batmobile race car. The CSL was going out of production, and BMW really needed something to go race with, and there really wasn't a lot that was suitable at the time. So they decided, okay, let's try building a Group 5 level 320. So from the car outside, they turned into this, and this car is quite special in several ways. Initially, they raced just a Formula 2 engine in it. It was about 300 horsepower. And when we raced that car in America, it really wasn't competitive. The first race was Daytona in '24, and it just didn't have the horsepower. So our race team, which was McLaren Engineering out of Michigan, looked at the engine and went, hey, we think we can turbocharge this thing. And so they had been working on IndyCar engine turbocharging, and they looked at the 4-bolt mains on this and went, okay, let's do it. So they used a big Allison diesel turbo and put it on this car, or put it on this engine, and started something that ended up with us winning the Formula One World Championship in 1983. So this was a 77. So by 83, that engine was able to develop in the range of 12 to 1,500 horsepower for a couple of laps. And in the race, it was about 900 horsepower out of a 1.5 liter engine. This is a 2-liter engine, developed about 700 horsepower when it was raced. There's a picture on the wall of David Hobbs, who you may know. He did the commentating for Formula One for many years. That's him racing here. I think that's Mid-Ohio, actually. And the car's a bit of a brick, so it needed a lot of power to push through the air. But it was a successful car. There were 5 of these cars made. This is chassis number 2, and it's part of the BMW North America collection. The others are all in private hands.
So I drove that car.
You drove that car.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what'd you think?
Yeah. We basically PTG pulled it out of mothballs. They didn't know
Yeah.
anything about it.
Right.
So we go to Pikes Peak, and there it is running, and I get in to drive it, and I go, how do you drive it? They go, we know nothing about this car. So it's basically, I go, well, how high do you rev it? We have no idea. So I put it in gear, I start to take off, and I stall. And I go, okay, a little more gas, and eventually it's got this kind of a small motor with a big turbo. And you wind this thing up, and all of a sudden the boost kicks in, and off you go. This thing makes huge horsepower for what you're looking at here. And I had like the best 10 laps in this thing, having a great time. And pretty soon, I think I'm revving it to like 9,000 RPM and driving it really hard. And yeah, I had a great time with it. So now you know where a lot of the awesome Formula One heritage came from,
Yeah,
right?
it came
from that
right
moment.
from this. Yeah.
The same block, the M10 block.
It's the M10 block, exactly. Yeah, yeah. And David Hobbs would say that you would kind of exit the corner, put your foot to the floor, count to 5, and that's when the boost would hit. So it was
Well,
it was interesting.
you had a turbo this big, like before anti-lag days. You can imagine you would put your foot down and just hang on. And yeah, Pikes. It did everything really well. I was surprised.
And very trick items, lots of titanium, lots of magnesium bits on it. And that's one of the reasons why we don't drive it anymore, is because all the magnesium will degrade over time, and it's really not safe to drive it anymore. But a really interesting piece of history. And I'll show you one little Easter egg that if you go back and look at the 320 out front, in order to make the car slightly better aerodynamically, they took the whole front here and tilted it out a little bit just to try to smooth it out. But and the extra hood tie down in the middle is, well, it's on that one too, but as you can see, the hood is bowing quite a bit. Yeah.
You know, what's weird is
Yeah.
sometimes.
All right, so now we can move over to the E30 M3,
It's planted.
and this is the start of our 40 years of
You get
M3
into
tour
these
now.
older cars, and you're like, you feel really
And
old.
this one,
This did not feel old.
I think we'll take the
You
hood
felt
off
like
of
you
it
were on
so
a
we can
bias black
show
tire,
you.
So you know the tire was slightly different.
Yeah.
But everything felt right. And when the power came on and the handling was good, it was really way better than you would have thought this would be.
There we go. So we're starting to see.
Oh yeah.
I got it. So we're starting to see lightweight construction. The hood is quite light. All right. So the story of the E30 M3 was needed to build 5,000 cars for the street in order to be able to go racing. And then in order to develop the car further, you had to build a few more for the street in order to be able to add those parts to the race car. This is a 1990. It's one of the last versions. It's a 2.5 liter engine. And this one specifically is a sprint engine because it has a slide throttle. The long distance engines had barrel throttles. And extremely successful race car in German Touring Car Championship. Raced all around the world. And it became an icon. It's for a very long time, and it may still be, it was the M3, E30 M3 was the winningest touring car in the world. Bill, have you driven one of these?
I've driven this. I drove this in Mexico City on a touring day, basically, on a press day. And it was Kubica and myself, right?
Okay.
And we had the M1 and this car there. And I asked him which one he'd rather drive. He drove this one, and we raced like lap after lap with the M1 and this. And they're pretty even, actually, those two cars. The M1's really fast in a straight line. This thing handled extremely well. So it was good racing, though.
The racing was really rough and tumble in those days. There's video of one of these finishing the race on its roof and sliding across the finish line. It wasn't Bill.
Not
no.
this time.
No, I think that was Winkelhock that did that.
And the guy who drove this car was my teammate later in life, Steve Soper.
Soper, yeah.
So between Soper and all of these guys, we wound up doing like a Legends race in Nürburgring, and all these same guys came out, and it was like no time had passed, and we're all banging into each other again. And yeah, these guys were animals. And these DTM cars,
they really were.
They were tough. I might have beat them. I got lucky.
And the series was BMWs, Mercedes, and a few of the Italian cars. I think
Alfa
Alfa was in
Romeo.
it, yeah, and a couple of others. But yeah, and this set the stage for BMW M. Right, the M3 was the 5,000 cars for the street. Didn't sell all that well. I was around at the company when at the tail end of that, and we had cars that we couldn't sell. It was difficult. We had to discount them. Very different today. The car is worth a lot more money today. And then it wasn't a great street car, but it was a fantastic race car. And then there were the Evo and the Sport Evo, and that allowed larger wheels, different splitters on the front, which made it onto the race car and kept the car competitive over the years.
You had a hard time selling the E30s?
Oh, yeah.
E30s? Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
we did.
I always wanted one as a kid.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Okay, so now let's move to E36. E36 behind you, the Yokohama car there. Bill, I'll let you lead on this one because this is one of your cars.
This was one of my cars. Is this the four-door?
No, this is a two-door.
So I started basically with BMW in 1995, so a few years ago. And this is kind of where we started. E36 M3s. And the first time you drive this car, I came out of RX-7s and other stuff, and you drove this car, and I was like, I was meant to drive this thing. This thing is perfect. Handled great, braked great. My teammates were Pete Halsmer, you remember Boris said, well, that's Mark Simo. He's from No Fear, if you remember that clothing company.
Open, so I'm going to close
But
it again.
this car was so fun to drive. And then we started winning races, a lot of them. So eventually we were winning a bunch in a row. And then we won championships after championships and all kinds of stuff. So this was how I got into BMWs, and it was a lot of fun. So it had a Hewland six-speed at the time. And basically you just stuck it in first gear, used a clutch, and from then on you banged it like a motorcycle transmission. And early on we had differential issues in the back. Once they solved that, these things were rocket ships and bulletproof. So we won Daytona with it, I think twice. We won Sebring a few times with it.
Yeah, and you won them back-to-back too.
The date, what's that?
You won them back-to-back, which was very rare.
And the time we won Daytona was really good. If you see that picture, there's blood all over the side of the car, which is interesting because we had an onboard camera, and at the end, from going up the bank so many times, the car would flex and it would break the windshield. So now the windshield's long since broken. It's starting to cave in. We're leading the race with like a 2-lap lead. And the series goes, your windshield's broken, you have to come in, right? So they tell us we have to pit. If we have to pit and put a windshield in, we're going to lose this race. So eventually, Tom Milner, our team owner, is saying, the car is fine, there's no problem. And we go, we see you're on board. We're in the car with our belts loose trying to hold the windshield up as we drive it. So the car is obviously not fine. We come into the pits. The crew grabs the windshield, rips it out, parts are flying everywhere. They tape another windshield in. We win just by a few seconds, and you can see that all these guys cut their hands doing the glass, putting it in, and that's how that thing went across victory lane, and it won. So it was a great win. It's a good question. We need that. I think all that stuff just gets chucked away at the time because it doesn't mean anything, but later on, it would be awesome to have that stuff. But you're right.
I was at that race, working on the Porsche yet. So we were complaining and begging. Wait a minute, it's got a broken windshield. We got to
See,
pull him in.
exactly.
That's how we use the Porsche.
It's cool to have an onboard camera, but when they can use it against you, that's the problem. When it goes against you, but yeah.
Did you ever drive some of the original PTG cars that were based on the lightweight? Because I know there were a number of early lightlets that were turned into race cars.
No, actually, all the lightweights were kept as street cars.
Okay.
No, sorry, there was one that was turned into showroom stock. These were purpose-built race cars. Yeah, they're not part of the lightweights.
But they did go through some version of an engine, like a dry sump to a non-dry sump.
Yeah.
They had some issues in Daytona early on. Remember with the oil?
And this car here is the most developed of all of them. So it's the lightest weight, the trickiest stuff in it. And
at the end, I also drove
end the racing. What year?
88, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and I
87 or
also
88.
drove the four-door version too. And I love that car.
Cool.
That was cool. The rear doors didn't work, but
Amazing to see them in the racing,
Yeah.
the race car mode.
All right. Any E36 fans here? Okay. And did you see the engine? Euro engine, yes. Exactly. Okay.
Did it run hotter than expected? Is that why you have the vents there, or is that just race cars?
It's actually to reduce air going underneath
That guy.
the car.
Who's that
So yes, it reduces the pressure.
around for a
So
day.
normally the pressure would push the air underneath because there's no place to escape. Here it can escape through the top.
Somewhere on there, there's say Rolls Royce.
Good question. Nah, I think just
I'm not aware of that.
probably been crashed over years,
Somewhere around there, I know. Cause
put away.
Like the two-door or the four-door?
Yeah.
Four-door?
E36.
I had just a lot of success in that four-door. It worked out really good.
Good. Good. All right. Next one up is the E46 M3. And we have a really special one of those. And it's over at the other end there. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You haven't been here since?
Let's maybe
Nobody. Well, we put it with its poster.
Well,
So let's. All right. Before I open it, this is no. I'll probably need to take a sip. So by the time we got to E46, very successful there, and then the next stage was E46. It started earlier than 2001, but this is a 2001 in the livery that it raced its last race ever. And that was at Petit Le Mans, 10-hour race, 1,000 kilometers at the end of the season in 2001. That's an actual photo from that race. And what was special about this car is it's called an M3 GTR, and it has a V8 engine in it. And the engine is called a P60. For a long time, this was the only running P60 race car in the world. There are 3 race cars left. Now BMW in Munich has managed to get theirs running, so now there are 2 running ones, and it'll run at the Goodwood Festival speed. This one we restored back to its 2001 livery in 2015, and we use it sparingly since because we don't have a lot of spares for it, but the engine is really special on this car. If you're a Porsche fan, I hope there are none here, but if you are, this was the car that they hated because in 2001 season it was dominant. There were Team PTG was racing with 2 cars, and then Team Schnitzer out of Munich was racing with 2 cars, and basically every race was between those 4 cars. Porsche really didn't have a shot that year, and they protested, of course, and by the end of the season they'd managed to convince IMSA that the car should be banned.
It's too good.
It was too good, yes. We beat them at their own game, actually, because the waiver that we were able to build this car with was one that they had asked for. So it backfired on them. The initial rule was that you had to build a few for the street,
Homologation or whatever.
for homologation, and you had to make them available for sale on 3 continents. And we did that. We built 10 cars, 10 street cars in Arctic Silver, and one was shown at Petit Le Mans when this car raced, one was shown in Poland, one was shown in the Middle East. The parts were all in the parts fiche, everything was documented, it was ready to go. And then they said that, no, for the following season, you had to build 1,000 engines. And this is a race engine, it wasn't possible to do, so we pulled out. And the cars were dormant for a year, and then they were converted to 6-cylinder power and race in Grand Am for a couple more years, and one in that series too. But in 2013, we found all the parts that had been removed. We have 2 engines, this one and the one on the stand over there, and we put the car back to the way it should be. So this is chassis number 6, and it's wonderful to see it. The picture shows flames. We made sure that we put the tune back in it, that it made flames as well. And it's a great car. Bill, you've many miles in this car, so.
I have a lot of miles in this car for sure. So when they ask you what's your favorite car that you've ever driven, you can either like one because it's fast, because it's historical and beautiful, or because it just flat out wins, right? This thing was so ahead of its time when it came with this motor. That motor is tiny, fast, powerful, put power down perfectly. The chassis was great. We were so fast that we could have beaten the class above us, the Corvettes, the yellow ones that ran around. That's how quick we were. So we were told every weekend the pace that we ran. We let the Porsches think they were close. So they could be within a second or two of us, but we probably had 3 more seconds to go. That's how bad it was, right? So this car was way ahead of its time. And like he said, it won basically almost every single race it ever ran. It was dead reliable. We do run this car. We get, as a passenger seat, we get rides today. And knock on wood, I don't think I've ever seen this thing break. Like, it doesn't break a lot.
No, we
It
had
does.
one electrical issue once.
Yeah, but
that's it.
This thing was bulletproof. It's the first car that came out with a drive shaft that goes in with the laser, so there's no yokes, no joints. It slips in perfectly straight. This car is so precise that even the drive shaft runs with a little piece of Kevlar in the middle, and that takes up the deviation in it. Still runs that transmission that we had before. It was a 6-speed Hewland, but strong, never broke. What else was there in this thing? But this thing technically was awesome and so fun. And that sound, if you ever hear this motor, it's the best sounding motor you ever hear, like next to a V12, but it takes literally no throttle to put it to red lines. It's so quick and responsive that if you touch it, flames are coming out, noise, it's great sounding. So yeah, it sounded good and it won.
The engine's good to 10,000 RPM. It was originally designed to go IndyCar racing. So it was a project that they built the engine and then decided not to do it. So it was on the shelf and ready to go. The engine weighs 30 pounds less than the 6-cylinder because the 6-cylinder is cast iron block. This is all aluminum, so much lighter. Yep.
What's the difference when it says BMW Power or it says BMW M Power?
BMW M used to be called BMW Motorsport years ago. And when it was BMW Motorsport, it was just BMW Power or M Power. It's changed a little bit. That's more marketing stuff. Now BMW M took back Motorsport because Motorsport went to the side. They were split at one point. Now they're back together, so it's BMW M Motorsport, which is kind of redundant, but it's what it is.
That's some features I haven't seen. The wedge on the top and the view. Is that for air or the trip? Yeah.
This, yes, actually, that's one of the differences between the PTG cars and the Schnitzer cars. Is the car's pretty hot.
They get real hot inside.
It's real hot.
That's
the driver.
an aqueduct, and it brings air hoses into your around your
and
neck.
you have hoses to the driver. Yeah, there's no AC in these cars, and you have closed windows. So that's the exit air from the radiator,
Okay, so
and they go straight through the hood,
So
which helps with downforce.
It does. A normal street car, you'll stack air under the hood and you'll make a lift. This actually makes downforce.
Yeah.
And if you think about this motor, which was designed, you said, for IndyCar, right? Is that,
Yep.
all the air goes through those 2 little trumpets in the front. So it's essentially restricting a motor that could probably make, what do you think this thing could make unrestricted? 750 horse?
Yeah.
So
as it stands now, it's about 500 horse.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So in 1 millimeter increments, you could make a huge difference
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
on choking that thing down. This motor is dead smooth. When you run it, you feel no vibrations, no nothing. So that's for the next conversation of the next.
I don't know that I believe him.
You feel something in there?
Oh yeah.
No way.
It's
That
a
thing
flat
is-
plane crank. It vibrates, but it doesn't move around a lot. But it vibrates a bit. But one of the things I want to point out in the progression of race cars. So we saw from E21 all the way to this. If you look in the interior, it's very similar to the street car. Your seat is on a track, and it's really based on the street car. When we go to the next one, this one here, everything changes. Yeah, it's much, much different. This one, if you put a GoPro behind the seat and Bill drives it, you'll see the seat moves by probably 1.5 inches, 2 inches. And so you lose fidelity, you lose feel for the car, for the chassis, by having the seat move. This seat does not move at all. In fact, it's not adjustable. The pedals are adjustable instead. And that's something that started with this and has progressed through all of our cars, including the GT3s and GT4s that Sam races today. So,
and something to that
yeah.
point is, I'm this height, which is human height, normal, and then my teammates were these Amazon guys. They're both, Boris said, what's he, 6'3", Hans is probably in the 6 foot range. And to move, so we all had to fit in the same seat. We all had to do a driver change in 15 seconds. So I get in the belts, and Boris said, who's bigger around, taller, we ran the exact same belt size. Nobody had to adjust the belt. And why, you ask, is because when I get in the seat, I put my foot on this bar that's in front of the seat, and by that bar, I could pull myself straight up automatically into his belts, and they were exactly in the right spot. So those moving tracks are what he's talking about. Those tracks have enough slop that under all the G-force, you could see the seat actually physically move.
Yeah.
And eventually, they did away with that on this.
Yeah, exactly. And just one last thing on the engine before we move on. So this was 2001. The E92 came out in 2008, both V8 power. This was a pure race engine for the street. It developed 370 horsepower. And then 7 years later, only 7 years later, we can have a V8 on the street with 414 horsepower that's good to 150,000 miles. So that's the progression in engine design. In race trim, this is 500 horsepower, that's 500 horsepower. But, people love the GTR street car. It's fantastic. It's very rare. There's 3 of them left. But technology moved ahead quite a ways. And now we're able to have, we were able to have a V8 in 2008. So that's it for this one. I'll close the hood again. And we'll move over to the E92.
I got a question for you. So how would you compare the E92 to the E4?
This one is not one of Bill's cars, but we have one that is
That's
Bill's.
the best driving car you're ever going to drive. That car right there is,
Yeah.
is
And
the
we
best
brought
driving car.
an E92 V8 engine as well. How many E92 people here?
Yeah,
One? Okay. All right. E9X, yeah. V8 power, high revving. A version of that engine for the street is the race engine. It was turned into the race engine. So the street engine is called an S65. This is a P65. To make it into a race engine, they just tweaked a few things. Doesn't have vanos. It doesn't need to run at part throttle. It doesn't have to worry about emissions so much. So we were able to take some complexity off the engine and make it a little bit simpler. Still 4 liters. The biggest difference is the crankshaft. It's a cross plane on the street engine and it's a flat plane on this. The advantage is that you can rev higher faster, and the downside is much more vibration. This thing vibrates a lot. You put a GoPro on the roll cage of this, and you won't be able to see an image. It's just wobbly. This thing will put your foot to sleep if you're but fantastic car. Bill, why don't you talk about it while I take the hood off?
All right, so we talked about you can like it because you win. You can like it because it's historical. This one you like because it's the best driving car you're ever going to drive. So you have the engine almost tucked in by it's shoved so far back. I'm shoved back, it's shoved back. So your weight distribution is like 52, 53% rearwards, which is the opposite of modern day cars. So you have a transmission in the back, transaxle, it's an X-Track. This car started getting into the technology standpoint. Like, it handles so well that all you can ask for is if your tires wear out, that it wears out evenly, right? So you never even notice this thing is starting to wear out. The lap time just slows down a bit. The balance stays perfect. Tom was talking about the vibration. Now, this one is a vibrator. If you're behind a pace car and you're only part throttle, it vibrates so bad it'll make you cough in the seat because the seat's a hard seat. So it's a really weird thing. The big exercise early on when we developed this car was if you put a frequency, like somebody sings and they scream at a glass, the glass shatters. Imagine, that's a real thing in this car. When we first drove it, you could be driving at a certain rev and all of a sudden the starter would just go and it would just break in half because it would just, the frequency. So we had to go through this whole car, make an oil tank out of something different, the alternator, the starter, and eventually when they got everything up to the right thickness or whatever they had to do, this car was another one that was like, we never break. Tom, you ever break this car?
Nope.
This car never breaks.
Never breaks.
So, and we started with a hand sequential, and now you go to a paddle shift, and it is beautiful. And
Right. This is a 2011, which was the first year we were allowed to have paddle shift. Same gearbox, exactly. Sequential before, that was in 09, 10, and then this one was paddle, which is slower, by the way, than the street one. The street one shifts faster, but
first car to introduce air conditioning. So, and when we talk about air conditioning, let's say a normal cockpit like that one will get in the 140-degree range, which sounds, how can you handle 140 degrees? It doesn't even make sense. It's like air. It's like being in a sauna. So you're forced to operate in this temperature that's not good for you. You'd get out, you'd feel your skin like if you have a fever, essentially, and you would come out with blood that would be 102 degrees. So you're essentially killing brain cells. Eventually, they figured out that's not good for you. So I think this one's sort of trying to be contained to like 110 degrees, something like that.
Yeah.
Which in the racing world is like an iceberg. So that's beautiful. Lots of airflow coming through. Yeah.
right. We had a couple of girls with us. Are they gone now? Yeah, because they were asking about the gills on the car out there. Well, this is an exercise in airflow. So you have air coming in. The trumpets for the engine are here. You can see them through the grill. This is cooling for the driver, so that goes into the AC system. This is the radiator exit, and it comes through the hood. And that's more or less it from the front. There's a duct that goes to the brakes. And then down the side of it, you have the larger duct is for transmission
what this
cooler
is.
that's in the back,
You don't
and then the lower one for
see
brakes.
them. I don't know.
What are you looking for?
The air jacks somewhere on this car.
Oh, yeah, they're buried.
They're in here somewhere.
Yep.
And this is where aerodynamics start kicking in, like the underfloors, the diffusers. You don't have a diffuser, but you have a certain type of underfloor. So we started now making downforce from the underside of the car. So
This
that's
thing
why this car
generates 1,200 pounds of downforce at 100 miles an hour.
Is ground effect legal for these things?
Yeah, now as we got to later generations, now we get to full diffused floors and all that. Now you make a lot of downforce on the modern car.
It's heavily regulated, and most of the floor is flat. And then at the back, you're allowed a certain angle of diffusion.
One Formula One, so you get up and all that.
Yeah, it's much simpler than that. So we don't generate as much downforce with these cars, but yes, it is managed.
And then you can tell about this. This wheel is unique. You don't see this wheel. We didn't race it very much.
No, we didn't. No, actually, yes, this wheel is very special. At around this time, we built a full-size rolling road wind tunnel that could do 200 miles per hour. So you could put a full-scale car in. And a lot of detail changes happened to the street cars, like the little vents that brought air in front of the wheels and then the vents behind on some of your cars. That was developed in that wind tunnel because the wheels were turning. You could see what the airflow was really doing. These wheels were developed in that wind tunnel. It's proprietary to BMW, and they gave us 3 kilometers per hour more top speed, just the wheel. So we used it only at the really fast tracks. So Sebring, Road Atlanta, Road America. That was it.
Le Mans, they raced this thing.
And they raced at Le Mans with those, yeah. And when the car came into the collection, BMW Motorsport did not want to give us the wheels. And I had to sign a letter saying that I would never let one get into private hands, yeah. So they're on this car, and they better all be all 4 on the car when it comes out of here. Yeah, exactly. And then if you want to open the door on that side, it's tough, so you can see in.
You kind of probably can't. too much.
It's a little, because of the positioning, it's a little bit difficult, but the driver is sitting in the rear passenger footwell. Yeah, so you're way, way back. And that's to move all the weight rearward. So the engine's pushed back, the transmission and axle is at the rear of the car, and the driver's moved back quite a ways. This seat does not move, period. And it has the movable pedal box. And if you look in from that side, you can see that the instrument cluster is also moved back. There's a faux stock one up there, and then everything is moved all the way back.
Yeah, so this is the cutting edge car that the seat is now fixed to the chassis, and we had a lever. You just pull the lever, and the pedal box moves to and away, depending on how tall you are.
What else can I tell you about this? Actually, with the door open, you can see there's airflow through the A pillar, comes in right behind the mirror, and cools the exhaust on that side. There's an exit here for interior air to move air through the car. If you look inside, there's a bulkhead behind the seat so that the air-conditioned space is smaller. We didn't want to air condition the whole car. And actually, the AC on this one works pretty well.
This thing flows so much air. It's really
Yep.
good.
And then at the rear of the car, there's a oil cooler. The big NACA duct on the side sends air to that and out the back. Someone's looking for air jacks. You can just see the air jacks. You can see it on that side. This side, it's not so easy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Great car.
Do your suits have AC now or no?
No.
No.
Anything that slows you down, like there are suits that have like a glycol that goes through it and a box that now does air conditioning. Certain cars, maybe like Indy cars, are even going to that now, where they can't run a whole AC system, but where we can generate actual air conditioning in the cockpit. It's just easier to do a driver change, not needing to plug in. Yeah, but some people still do it. Like Mercedes, I don't think they have AC in their car, so they have to plug in, right? So
A lot of Porsche guys use the suits as well.
But the new GT3 car that we race, the best thing, AC is awesome. Like, it's really good.
Gotta have AC. Gotta love it.
Yeah, man. It's
All right, from here, we'll go over to the weapon in the corner.
It's on the wheel, not
Positive
these, but
close.
one of the things that I notice all the time is
well,
that
you feel it. That door weighs
Yeah,
nothing,
yeah,
so it's really good.
A whole other three-piece wheels like
Yes.
A46 does.
Yeah, they're not strong enough anymore.
That's it. Went to one
Yeah,
piece
they're not as-
earlier than anybody else did.
Yeah, they're not as strong, the three-piece. Okay. So, unfortunately, it's not my car, or it's not BMW's car. It's privately owned, so I will open the door for you, but I can't take the hood off. It's a bit more complicated on this car. So what is this thing? This is an F82, so this fifth generation M4, and it was built to race in DTM series. So it's called a DTM Class 1 car. It has a 4-cylinder engine with a turbocharger. You can see the backwards turbo in the nose there to harken back to the 2002 turbo days. It is a series that required everyone to have the same tub. So the basic safety structure is the same for everyone. The underfloor is the same for everyone. So basically the aerodynamic package is more or less the same for everyone. And it has to look like a BMW on the surface, and it has to have a BMW engine. It's also a transaxle car. It has a DRS system on the rear wing, so if you're not in first place, you can flatten the wing and go a little faster for a period of time. And these were, they did pit stops in these. They did pit stops in like 2 seconds. It was a Formula One level with a roof, basically. And the series went for several years. Now they use GT3 level cars like Sam drives today. But this was the pinnacle of racing in touring cars for a few years. It's really pretty special equipment. Bill, you drove it.
Thing's wicked. Now, you want to talk about like the fastest thing you could ever drive in a GT-based car? This is it. I mean, I drove it in Homestead on not the newest tires just last year. And the motor is literally, if we took that hood off, that motor is that long. It's a tiny 4-cylinder that makes huge power with no lag. So you can step on it and it will light the wheels up. I was lighting it has no traction control. So I would go down, leave like turn 4 or 5 down the middle straight or whatever. And you would just leave black marks all the way down the straightaway in third gear. And I could do this lap after lap. And it was funny because then I drove the other cars. You just see these black lines leaving down the pavement. And then DRS is unique to me. I've never done it. You touch it, go. And the problem is there's one turn on in Homestead. You come off the bank at full speed. And I would deactivate the DRS when I went in. And I would do the same for turn 1. But huge downforce. So this downforce competes against like the prototype cars I drive, where you have kind of a complete aero package that would make thousands of pounds of downforce. This is that type of thing. But lots of fun. Hard to see the dash. It wasn't lit quite well enough when I was driving it. So I was nervous when I couldn't see the DRS light when it was coming on or off. So I was praying to God that it was going off.
T-Mobile Glock.
But yeah, this is the pinnacle of GT bodied type racing that you could ever get into. Yeah, it just goes fast.
Probably.
No, it just keeps accelerating on the top end, never slows down. And this little motor where I was thinking I was going to get a giant amount of like turbo lag like this car here. Technology's moved so far forward that you have an imperceivable type of anti-lag. So the anti-lag is working in the background. You don't really hear it, but when you step on it, it's instantaneous taking off. Where a lot of our other stuff like the M6, M8, you can hear it, and sometimes you can feel it pushing you as the anti-lag is on. This one, you don't feel that. So the technology was really good here.
Do you remember what the buttons do?
Yeah. All I did, honestly, the owner of this car came over and goes, do you want to drive it? I'm like, heck yeah. So I just got in. I'm like, where do I start it? Where's the DRS? And off I went. There was not much else to the car. And you'll see it's BMW-ish, right?
Is there traction control
Nope.
settings?
No ABS, no
ABS.
traction control. This is,
Just different mapping.
That's actually a good point because none of these, this car had ABS, but
didn't E36
E36 did, yeah,
did.
an
And-
early version.
So we get to the oldest car from 1995, 96. Over there had ABS. We were developing traction control, and it had adjustable in-cockpit sway bars. So all this technology that we're not allowed to use
Yeah, you're not allowed
anymore.
to have that anymore. So the E92 there it has traction control, which doesn't help you in stability. So you can spin very easily, but it will limit the amount of wheel spin. So coming out of the corner, if you're fully committed, you can use the traction control to give you best corner exit. It's a leap of faith to do it, but no ABS, so you have to threshold brake yourself. It's all on you, the driver. So that's part of the pro category. If you guys want to come and have a look inside while I hold the door open because it wants to close, and then we'll move on to the next one.
Well, this one was when the tires go off, you had so much wheel spin
In the
down
center there?
that you could
That's
easily
some
put it sideways.
switches
But
for
it was very
starting,
controllable.
for
but it
getting
lit it
moving.
up, not just a little bit. You could light it up until you were in the red leader, essentially, like instantly.
It's,
It had so much power.
I think it's a 1.5 liter 4-cylinder.
Yeah, you have to develop
It should say
into it.
on here.
So
The limit, right?
well, because you have to know how to
2 liters,
work
sorry,
with
2
it and
liters.
drive off corners and set your car up. Now we get into newer cars. I have 10 levels or 12 levels of traction control, pedal maps, ABS settings, and I'm tuning them all the time. So,
Yeah,
no.
high level, yeah.
Well, the team will tell
Yeah.
somebody that doesn't really know what they're doing. I know these cars so well. Oh yeah. So we developed. Imagine we started developing all those systems on that E36, and it just
I'll leave it open for
translated, went to
Yeah,
all the cars,
exactly.
right? And then you'll see a
I
disconnect,
have to do another
which is really
tour, so I'm
weird.
not
You'll
gonna
see
close it completely.
all the engineers that I worked with through that one, and
It's
systems
going
are
over-
similar,
yeah.
similar, good,
Yep.
good. And we'll have tried stuff and taken it
No,
away,
actually, I just put
and all
the
of a sudden I'll see a
two
new
parties
car come,
together.
I'm like,
They
why
worked
did you put
out.
that back in there? Oh, we think it's going to be
Yeah.
better. I go, we tried
It's
it.
an
There's no-
incredible car.
Oh, and it's German. So you wait for that German. We know. That just and then we try it. And they're like, it doesn't work on off it goes. And I'm like, so
Just for the driver.
well, or listen to some. There's, history moves forward. And you
Before
can
we
use
move
some
off
of
of
that.
the F8X version,
When you
we'll
engineer
have
a car,
Bill and Sam talk a little bit about the customer race cars. So when F8X came out, we started making a GT4 level race car and then the GT3 level race cars. So that was really BMW ramping up the customer racing program that is huge today. And Sam, you got the first couple of cars, right? Of the
First M4 GT3s in the world.
yeah, took delivery at the Veld.
And as fate would have it, was also the first in the world to win with that car.
Yay!
And
And then, so that was a GT3. The GT4 is a lower level car, costs less money, a little bit easier to drive. I want you to spend a little bit of time explaining a bit of the difference.
I would say on the GT3 level, it's a very pure race car. There's so many things that you can adjust. And the GT4 is a little bit less. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, less customizable, but very approachable, incredible car, very, very solid platform. I had the pleasure of driving both the F82 and the G82. So I would say that the G82 has come very, very far in terms of stability and what we can change. But overall, very, very strong race cars. I mean, we won a lot of championship titles with those, so incredible to drive.
Great. All right, and we used to have an G82 GT4 here from the BMW Performance Center in Thermal, California. Unfortunately, it had to go back because people wanted to go and drive it. So we have an M3 CSL here from our collection, and the M3 CS Handschalter will come in the exhibit for the next month or so. So this one will move out. GT4s and G82, I will say, have a automatic transmission in them. It's a ZF 8-speed, which is not something you would expect in a race car, but it is a ZF 8-speed with one gear removed, so it's only a 7, and it's paddle shift, and it feels like a proper race car, and the thing is bulletproof. So yes, we still love manuals, but the automatic transmission has progressed to the point where it is applicable to a race car. And anyone who's driven a G8X model for the street with the automatic will probably attest to the fact that it's really, really quite fantastic. So, Bill, do you want to talk about G82 race car a little bit?
The new one?
Oh, you have your own.
So G82, the
current
GT4 car.
Yeah.
So it used to be BMW's entry-level race car. It is no longer. Now you have the M2,
Right.
basically, even a class lower. But the M4, the GT4 car, any one of you guys could get in. You could go to basically the BMW school and drive a version of it, right? They still offer that.
Thermal, California.
But now you're getting into a real race car. Like it's a racing seat, a racing car based on a street platform, totally different damper, springs, you got a wing, you have downforce, and all of a sudden you have traction control modes that you're now using. You're on the track and you're in MDM or DSC or TC with 10 settings on it. You also have brake bias adjusters. You have all the tools in there, and then, but not too many, right? It's not overwhelming. The GT3 car is overwhelming. We have so much stuff going on, from fuel maps, pedal maps, all kinds of stuff, that it gets very technical. GT4, you get in there, get just comfortable to where the car is good for you, and then you go racing. And you race these races, you develop your skill there, and then you can move up to GT3. And then if you're good enough, you move up to prototype. And that's everybody's objective as a race car driver, is to get taken on by the factory and go to the top level of racing and experience these cars and tell these great stories afterwards. After 31 years of being with BMW, I've had good success with a lot of these cars, and we've won a lot of races, and we've had a lot of great experience. And you see how when they made that E36, you go, it cannot get any better than this, right? You think that is as good as it's going to get. And then all of a sudden they come out with this, then they come out with that. It's just, now they've come out with a BMW M5, which is, we all heard this weight. It's a big amount of weight, right? So the other day I'm in Autobahn, I'm giving rides. They tell me I'm going to give a ride in the M5. And I'm like, it's kind of a heavy car on this big, fast track. And all of a sudden I get in it and I go, they did it again. It's even better than anything I've driven as a street car from before, with the torque vectoring of the wheels, the differentials. All these active systems are so good that it just makes the cars better and better and more fun to drive. And I had the best time ever.
Yep.
Worst job in the world. Don't try to do it.
And that's our tour. It's been about an hour, so thank you for joining. You're welcome.